Ever feel like you practice a ton but don't sound any closer to being a real musician? You sit down every day, put in the time, but it still feels like you are running in circles? After teaching for nearly 2 decades, I can tell pretty quickly if someone's practice time is moving them forward or leaving them stuck. And it usually comes down to 3 signs. These 3 signs are the difference between wasting years repeating the same mistakes and finally practicing in a way that makes you sound better every week. So in this video I will show you the mistake that makes you feel like you are practicing when you are really just playing around, the one that traps you in your comfort zone instead of targeting your weaknesses, and the one that makes you reinforce the same errors over and over without even realizing it. Sign number 1. Have you ever heard of Meadowmount? It's this famous violin school in the States. The alumni list is insane. Isaac Perlman, Yo-Yo Ma, Joshua Bell, basically the world's best string players. They've got this rule of thumb. If someone walking past your practice room can recognize the piece you are working on, you are not really practicing, you are just playing. And I see this with my students all the time. I let them practice in front of me, and here is what happens. They play things start to finish, always at the same tempo, the same mistakes in the same spots, just repeating and hoping it will fix itself. And I get it, it feels good. You hear music, you feel like you are making progress. And if 1 out of 10 reps comes out clean, you move on because hey, you nailed it. But here's the truth, you are not practicing, you are just playing. The weak spots are still hidden inside. Real practice sounds nothing like music. It's slow, it's ugly, it's stopping every 2 bars and hammering the rough spots until they click. If someone walked by your room, they would think that you have lost your mind, the same phrase over and over. And here is why it matters. That just play through method works fine when you are strumming easy 4-chord songs. But once you step into harder pieces, the kind that demand precision, it completely breaks down. Not because you are not talented, but because you are not actually practicing. Do this for years and you will inevitably hit a wall. The simple stuff will always sound fine, but the difficult parts, they will never get better no matter how many hours you put in. So here is the test. Think about your last practice session. Could someone walking by have recognized what you were playing? If the answer is yes, you weren't practicing, you were just playing. And that's the first sign you are practicing wrong. Sign number 2. Have you ever seen a professional athlete train? I guess you did. So you know they don't just show up, mess around, and hope they get better. A professional athlete doesn't just say, I will work on cardio today. They show up with a specific plan and clear benchmarks they want to hit. Every session has a purpose, and that's why they improve. But most aspiring guitarists do the opposite. They sit down, noodle around, maybe run a scale or 2, and call it practice. But that's not training, that's just fooling around. Now, why does this matter to you as a guitarist? Because if you are watching this, you probably don't just want to be some casual player, you want to get good. And the truth is, how good you get has way less to do with how much gear you buy or how many YouTube lessons you binge, and everything to do with how seriously you take your practice time. Your practice time is where you get good. If your sessions are just playing whatever you feel like, you are not actually training, you are just staying in your comfort zone. And comfort zone doesn't create progress. That's why you'll meet guitarists who've been playing for a decade but still struggle with the same chord changes they couldn't do in year 2. They never built a practice routine that actually targets their weaknesses. So here is sign number 2. If someone asks you right now what specific skills you are working on this week and how you are measuring progress, and you can answer immediately, you don't have a practice routine, you have a hobby. And that's the second sign you are practicing wrong. Sign number 3. Let me ask you a question. How do you actually know if your guitar practice today made you a better player? Most guitarists go by feel. They finish a session, they think, yeah, that was good, but that feeling doesn't mean much. Athletes, again, don't rely on feelings. They review game tapes, they track numbers, they've got coaches pointing out every detail. They don't leave progress up to guesswork. But guitarists, we just play. If it feels a bit smoother, we assume it's progress. The problem is feelings lie. I had a student who was convinced he had nailed this David Gilmour solo. He kept playing it for me and I kept stopping him, but he couldn't understand why I wasn't satisfied. Finally, I just hit record. When I played it back, his face dropped. He finally realized all those bends are completely out of tune. He had no idea while he was playing. And something similar happened to me. I was in the studio recording a part I thought was locked in. But the sound engineer stopped, zoomed in on the screen and pointed, "See that? You are playing ahead of the beat every single time." My timing felt fine while I was playing, but on the grid it was obvious. and I would have never caught that on my own. That's the danger of practicing without feedback. You end up reinforcing the same mistakes over and over, thinking you are improving, when in reality you are just getting better at being sloppy. The fix is simple. You need to record yourself, listen back, or get feedback from a teacher, a bandmate, or anyone who will be honest with you. Because if you don't know if you are getting better, there's a good chance you are actually getting worse. And that's the third sign you are practicing wrong. So those are 3 signs your practice is holding you back. The good news is once you spot them, fixing them isn't that difficult. And when you do, your practice finally starts to pay off. If you found this video helpful, I put together a free guide called The 8 Blockages Killing Your Guitar Progress. You can grab it below. It covers the exact roadblocks that keep so many intermediate players stuck for years and how to break through them. Thank you for watching.